Today, we're journeying deep into the heart of the Amazon rainforest to uncover a story of true courage, a story of defiance that echoed around the globe. This is the unbelievable life of Kayapó, the indigenous warrior who faced down the Brazilian government and, with a single machete, postponed the end of her world. Our story begins in the 1960s, with the birth of a girl named Tuíre into the Kayapó people. The Kayapó, a Mabanagaka community, have a connection to their land that is almost impossible for outsiders to comprehend. Their entire identity, their culture, their spirituality, it's all intricately woven into the flow of the Xingu River and the sprawling, living jungle that surrounds it. From the moment she could walk and talk, Tuíre was taught that the forest was far more than just land or resources. It was life itself. It was the sacred home of their ancestors, a living, breathing entity that provided everything they needed. And with this gift came a profound duty, the duty to defend it at all costs. This wasn't an abstract concept for Tuíre. It was a painful reality. She saw the tragedy of colonization firsthand. Her own paternal grandfather had died defending their lands from outsiders, a sacrifice that left an indelible mark on her young soul. In Kayapó culture, courage and strength aren't just admirable traits. They are sacred virtues, essential for the survival of the people. Tuíre's family saw this warrior spirit in her and actively encouraged it. They nurtured her resolve, preparing her for a life of strength. For years, her life was quiet, rooted in the traditions of her ancestors. She lived in harmony with the forest, her days following the rhythm of the seasons and the river. But in 1989, everything changed. The outside world, the world of the white man, came crashing in, threatening to literally swallow her home whole. The threat had a name, the Belo Monte Dam, originally called Kayapó. It was a colossal hydroelectric project planned for the lifeblood of her people, the Xingu River. This wasn't just an infrastructure project, it was an existential threat. The dam would flood vast swathes of their ancestral lands, drowning sacred sites and hunting grounds. It would destroy the delicate balance of the jungle ecosystem and, in doing so, fundamentally kill the Kayapó way of life. In February 1989, the Brazilian government and its state-owned power company, Eletronorte, organized a public hearing in the nearby city of Altamira. The goal was simple: to convince indigenous leaders from across the region to accept the project, to sign away their world for promises of progress and compensation. The air in that meeting was thick with tension and mistrust. The officials spoke of benefits, of development, of a better future. But to the Kayapó and other indigenous groups present, their words were hollow, just another chapter in a long history of lies and broken promises. Tuíre, who was only 19 years old at the time, sat and listened. She heard the condescending tones, the slick presentations that glossed over the irreversible destruction. She watched as her elders were spoken down to, their deep ancestral knowledge dismissed as primitive. And she had heard enough. In a moment of pure, raw, and unscripted defiance, something shifted. Tuíre rose to her feet. Wearing her traditional black and red war paint, a symbol of her readiness for battle, she strode with purpose across the crowded room. Her target was José Antonio Muniz Lopes, the director of Eletronorte, the man representing the entire destructive project. In front of a stunned audience and, crucially, in front of international cameras, she confronted him. Tuíre brandished her machete, not a weapon of war in the conventional sense, but a tool of daily survival, used for clearing paths and gathering food. It was a symbol of her connection to the forest. She didn't strike him with the sharp edge. Instead, She ran the dull side of the blade across the terrified engineer's face. Not once, but 3 times. It was a gesture of profound warning, a symbolic act of rejection. Then she spoke. In her native tongue, her powerful voice cutting through the silence. She delivered a message that would soon be translated and broadcast across the world. White man, you have no forest. This land isn't yours. You were born in the city and came here to attack our rivers. You will not do this. That single act, captured in an iconic photograph, became a global symbol of indigenous resistance. The image of the young, determined woman with her machete, standing up to the embodiment of corporate and state power, was electrifying. It did what months of quiet negotiations and polite protests could not. The world was now watching. International pressure mounted on the Brazilian government. The World Bank, feeling the heat, abruptly cancelled a crucial $500 million loan that was earmarked for the project. Faced with global outrage and financial setbacks, the government had no choice. The Belo Monte Dam project was shelved. For 20 years, Tuíre's single act of defiance had held back the floodwaters. But as we know, the forces of so-called progress are relentless. Tuíre's fight didn't end in 1989. 2 decades later, the Brazilian government, under new leadership, revived the project. Despite renewed protests and legal battles, construction on the Belo Monte Dam eventually began and was completed. It was a heartbreaking loss for the Kayapó and the forest. But a warrior's spirit isn't just for winning battles. It's for enduring, for adapting, for continuing the fight in new ways. Tuíre didn't give up. She transitioned her activism, she helped lead marches, her presence still a powerful symbol of resistance. But she also turned her focus inward, towards her own community. She worked tirelessly to empower other Kayapó women, encouraging them to take on leadership roles and make their voices heard. She understood that the long-term survival of her people depended not just on fighting external threats, but on strengthening their own culture, preserving their language, and ensuring their political autonomy. In time, she became a chief herself, a respected leader who proved that the spirit of a warrior is necessary not just for the heat of battle, but for the patient, difficult work of building a future. Tuíre Kayapó passed away in 2024, leaving behind a world forever changed by her courage. Her legacy is clear and powerful. She showed the world the immense, unyielding spirit required to protect the Amazon. She taught us that one person, armed with conviction and a deep love for their home, can indeed stand against the most powerful forces and, even if just for a while, change the course of history. She reminded us that some things are worth fighting for, one heroic act of defiance at a time. That moment in 1989 is truly unforgettable. A single, powerful gesture that stopped a mega-project in its tracks. What single moment of defiance do you think changed history the most? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so let me know in the comments below. And if you want to hear more stories of real-life heroism, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Thanks for watching.